Hello everyone and welcome to Plane Time here in our studio in Oviedo, Florida. This is the Gizmo Productions USA that we're using their site. And this is the Florida Aviation Network project of the National Aviation Safety Foundation. I'm your host today, but we have many other hosts and you're going to be seeing them throughout the course of our presentations. And please go on our website, and we have a very active YouTube channel. Visit it, like it, refer your friends to it. You might learn something. Today we're going to be learning a lot more about the National Performance Plan of the FAA. And we are here, typically Plane Time dedicates itself to maintenance related items. This is no different. There's a lot of maintenance related items, and the maintenance and operations of these aircraft are critical, and we can't explain that enough to you. There's a lot of resources out there, and that's the reason the gentleman we have here has become one of our own now. But I'm going to introduce you, and I'm going to shake the hand of Mr. Bob GAJSC.
Good morning, Benji.
Good morning, Bob. Bob, it's always a pleasure working with Bob. He is a consummate professional, and he has a lot of information to share. And we're going to jump right into it because the more I pontificate, the less time he has to teach you. Bob, take it away.
Thanks, Benji. Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate it. I'm here today to talk to you guys about what the FAASTeam is doing for fiscal 26. We're fortunately putting a major shutdown in the rearview mirror, and it's off to an initial rocky start only because of the shutdown. But there is so much work to do. And I want to acquaint the people in the audience. Many of them are reps or lead reps or FAASTeam service providers, or are going to become one of those volunteers for the FAASTeam. I want to acquaint you with what FAASTeam is doing in fiscal 26. And we'll start with a general overview of the National Performance Plan that the FAASTeam uses, and we'll get into some specifics in segment 2. But in segment 1, I want to acquaint people with what the FAASTeam's mission is and what their tasking is for the year ahead. The National Performance Plan, or NPP as we like to call it, is the FAASTeam headquarters' nationwide published goals for the year ahead. That is really, from a football perspective, that is the playbook for the entire fiscal year. There are approximately 50 projects laid out in the National Performance Plan. The FAASTeam program managers, which I used to be one, they are responsible for accomplishing all of these goals, or as many as they can do. So the fiscal year starts in October and runs through September of the next year. That's the federal government all the way around, not just the FAA or the FAASTeam. The National Performance Plan outlines the tasks that can be planned ahead of time for the FAASTeam program managers to do. And it's important that people who work with the FAASTeam are familiar with what is in that National Performance Plan. We'll get a little bit into that as we go out through the morning. One of the key contributing members to the FAASTeam is a group called the General Aviation Joint Safety Committee, or the GAJSC. They are the ones who develop the topics of the month for the operators and the airworthiness topics of the quarter for the maintainers. There are a number of safety outreach tasks, and we'll see some of that in slides coming up. Some of these tasks are required, some of them are recommended. I'll help delineate those throughout the morning. Later on in segment 2, we'll get into those specific 12 topics of the month for fiscal 26 and the 4 airworthiness topics of the quarter. As I mentioned, there are approximately 50 tasks assigned to the FAASTeam for the fiscal year. Some of them are required, and those required FAASTeam tasks will include the training of the FAASTeam representatives, both initial and recurrent training. In fact, the Daytona Beach FAASTeam is going to be hosting recurrent rep training in mid-January. I invite you to join if you're a rep in the Daytona area or the Orlando FSDO and you need it. The GA Awards, which we promote tremendously through the Florida Aviation Network. In fact, the FAN is a FAASTeam industry member. the Aviation Maintenance Technician program, and the Wings Pilot Proficiency Program. We promote that heavily within the FAASTeam, and you'll see an awful lot of that happening within the Orlando FSDO and the Florida Aviation Network. The Wings program is for the pilots. The AMT program is for the mechanics. If you're not familiar with that, get a hold of your nearest rep and start asking questions. The Runway Safety Action Team Meetings, or RSAT, that's a mandatory item throughout the year. The Safety Management System, which is overtaking the way we do business within aviation industry, the Safety Management System has an outreach program within the FAASTeam that's required to be promoted by the FPMs. And the U.S. Helicopter Safety Team also has an outreach program called the PEER program. If you're in a 141 school, you may have a program at your school called the ASAP program, or the Aviation Safety Action Program. That's the helicopter equivalent of it, is the PEER program. We also have a number of recommended tasks. These aren't required, but they are highly encouraged for the FAASTeam program managers to accomplish. And it's important to know that many of these tasks can involve the volunteers. In fact, the FAASTeam relies on the volunteers and their energy and their contributions. Some of these recommended tasks for the fiscal year include the designee outreach. Designees are your DPEs, your DMEs, your DARs. These are designated experts in aviation that help keep it safe. Each one of them acts as a firewall for safety. The light sport aircraft, of course, the Mosaic rule came out in July. It is a huge game changer, and there is an outreach program in the FAASTeam to reach out for the experimental aircraft community and the light sport community. The helicopter safety outreach, which has always been an important program within the FAASTeam, we promote it through outreach efforts that the FAASTeam helps us with. Safety promotion outreach. This is where we get into the General Aviation Joint Safety Committee topics of the month. We'll get into that in segment 2. Also in Orlando, and of course, and up in the Milwaukee FSDO, they have very large-scale aviation community events. FAASTeam members are encouraged to get involved as volunteers there, whether it's Sun and Fun or Air Venture or a local air show or even an exposition of a type of pilot community. We encourage the people who want to volunteer with the FAASTeam to get involved in those community outreach events. There are no less than 5 distinct programs for the fiscal year covering the unmanned aircraft system community, or UAS, the drone community. There's 5 of them. And a recreational flyer outreach to cover a smaller community but represented throughout the country. These are recommended tasks for the FAASTeam. Many of them represent opportunities for the FAASTeam volunteers. If you think you can get involved in some of these tasks, please reach out through your lead rep and through your FAASTeam program manager to see where you're needed and how you can help. In the airworthiness side of the FAASTeam, the National Performance Plan covers an inspector authorization refresher seminar, and I believe in 2026 all the IAs are going to have to be renewed. Unlike the flight instructor community, the IAs have to renew every other year on the same month. It is a major project for the FSDO.
It's every odd.
Huge.
Odd year.
Every odd year.
Odd
Okay,
year for...
very good. I'm off by a year.
Okay.
But IA refresher seminars occur throughout the year. Independent general aviation maintainers have an airworthiness program. This is where we get into the topics of the quarter, which are laid out by the General Aviation Joint Safety Committee. And there's an outreach program for maintenance facilities and maintenance schools. Huge outreach efforts by the FAASTeam. And there is a lot of room for the volunteers to help get involved. In Orlando, the Ops FPM position is vacant, but there are tasks for the Ops FAASTeam program managers across the country, and they include an outreach to prevent controlled flight into terrain, CFIT. They reach out to the flight instructor schools and the DPEs. There's an enormous amount of overlap between the FAASTeam Ops program manager and the DPE community, and there are scheduled overlapping programs where they reach out to the flight instructor and the DPE communities. Flight school outreach, specifically it's the 141s, but the Part 61s can also get involved in these outreaches. The CFI performance analysis, this is a program where the FAASTeam is looking at the pass rate records and the effectiveness of the flight instructors within the district. And they may, if you're a flight instructor, maybe a little bit weak on a certain area and having trouble with your pass rate, you might get a telephone call from your local FAASTeam program manager. It's also an area where reps can get involved, especially if they are flight instructors as well. In-person safety promotion. You'll see the FAASTeam program managers at some of these events that we're doing around the district. I guarantee you, you'll see them at Sun and Fun for sure in the Orlando district. And there's a huge presence of the FAASTeam at AirVenture as well. Human factors promotion is a large-scale program that we do and have a number of safety outreach things in our topics of the month, and which we'll get into in the next segment. So those are some of the key areas where the National Performance Plan has outlined goals, some of them mandatory, some of them recommended through the rest of fiscal year 26. In the next segment, we'll talk about them specifically. The FAASTeam moves those goals around and they cover, they add some, they take some away from one fiscal year to the next. And so we're seeing a few new ones being added in this year. We'll cover some of the major ones in the next segment. But there's some really good stuff there. And I know some of that, especially the airworthiness stuff, will hit your hot button, Benji.
Well, Bob, you've noticed I've stayed remarkably quiet.
That's unusual, but
very unusual
it's okay.
But
I love to talk.
You have a lot of information, and sometimes, Bob, it seems like we're getting kind of top-heavy with programs and information, and there's just so much that we can absorb, we being people, the human being. There's a reason for this, but it's the resourcing and it's the resourcefulness. You've got to ask the question that all of this information, all these programs put together, they're not going to do a thing to help prevent accidents and make this a safer industry unless people use them. So it's our job, and the way that I kind of understand, I was going to ask you, how can reps get involved? We can make things easier to absorb and let you learn where to go and get, how to use these resources.
You're absolutely right, Benji. It's the people that make this whole industry work, and it's the trust that pilots and mechanics place in one another to interact safely, to do things the right way. Every once in a while, the ship needs a little nudging one way or another to stay on the right track. But expertise and involvement are key factors in what makes a rep a good rep. The FAASTeam is looking for people to volunteer to help with the FAA's safety outreach and accident prevention efforts. It's an ongoing thing. They're always looking for new talent, new energy, people with expertise and new skills to come and help with these outreach programs that they have. We need people who are proactive, people who don't wait to be told something. They take the initiative. People who are participants, people that are already using the programs that are out there for everybody to use. That's one way to get expertise, is to be a participant in the same programs that you're telling other people about. We also love to see performance. Is a person active in, say, the WINGS program? Are they earning phases? Are they achieving WINGS credits for things? In fact, today's segments, all three segments, are for, or actually all four segments are for WINGS credits. So you can earn WINGS credit just by tipping back with a cup of joe and listening to what we have to say.
Can we get WINGS credit for today's
Yes,
activity?
you can. Yes, I'm so glad you asked. The answer is yes, you can. Not only that, but if the material that I'm putting out this morning is a little bit too voluminous to accept in one sit down, you can download the slides that I've posted into the SPANS message and pick up the slides that I'm using today and read them at your own pace. So that's all public domain type of stuff. Each FSDO is working with the FAASTeam volunteers. They are limited on the number of lead reps that they can have. Lead reps are the top of the food chain for the volunteers, and the lead reps have reps that work underneath of them in teams. We try to have a FAASTeam footprint or a FAASTeam presence at all of the airports in our district. And I specifically work in the Daytona Beach FAASTeam as a volunteer. I'm a rep. I work under lead rep Vicki Sherman. The structure is very efficient. It works beautifully. It's simple, easy to follow, and we have a number of people that want to get involved. Orlando is unique amongst FSDOs in that we have an approved internship program. I see safety as a profession, no less so than medicine or law or realty. The profession of aviation safety is no less important, and because of that, we have a training program as well that involves a prospective rep working under a lead rep for a number of months, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and getting the green light from the lead rep to become a FAASTeam rep in good standing on the registry. We encourage other FSDOs to do the same thing.
And Bob, it actually is, you likened it to being a doctor or something. It's a practice, and safety is, you have to practice it every day. And I don't know of anyone that has mastered it, because the ball, it changes. The target changes, it moves. But the only thing that you can really be the master of is yourself and your aircraft. And the obvious master of I'll never forget this, talking 135 or air carrier, when you demonstrate that you have the ability to fly that aircraft and are the obvious master of the aircraft, that's what we're looking for. That there's nothing that aircraft or the weather can throw at you that you haven't been trained to handle.
Perfection is the goal, but everybody knows that perfection is impossible. The idea is to work within standards every day. And the best way to get close to perfection and staying within the standards, as you said, Ben, it's proficiency, it's practice, it's repetition, it's exercising the good skills, and where decision making is involved, it's making good decisions. Vince Lombardi, the great football coach of the Green Bay Packers, he led them to their first Super Bowl victory in the mid-1960s. He had a great quote, it changed my life forever. He said, "Practice doesn't make perfect." He said, "Perfect practice makes perfect." We practice to the highest standard that we can, knowing that we'll never be perfect, but we try to have the closest hit to the bullseye each time that we fly. And if we're not ready to do that, maybe we shouldn't be in the air that day. But it's something to strive for, and there are a lot of people that want to help us get as close to the bullseye as we possibly can.
Bob, if I wanted to get started up as a FAASTeam rep, would I go to FAASafety.gov?
That's a good place to start. Getting involved with the programs that the FAA offers is another good way to start. Your journey with the FAASTeam starts, I suppose, with setting up an account, a free account with FAASafety.gov. Come to the seminars, attend the webinars, and the webinars are available across the country. You don't have to come to just the ones that Orlando offers or the ones just in your FSDO. Come to the ones that are around the country, the webinars. The seminars are, you have to be there in presence, but get involved, come and see these things, see how they work. Get involved with some of the community organizations that are out there. Look at Florida Aviation Network. They're always recruiting volunteers, and we're looking for people with energy, enthusiasm, and an ability to learn and to work with a team of people that have the same goals. So that's a great way for somebody to become a prospective rep, is get involved and show some initiative.
The FAA, Bob, the FAA, they don't teach you how to fly, do they?
Nope.
Does the FAA maintain airplanes?
Not that I know of.
Does the FAA, what is their active role in safety?
That's a great question, Benji, and the answer is the FAA promotes safety by regulating it. The FAA performs a regulatory process. They make sure that the regulations are adhered to, and when rules are broken, they enforce those regulations. But that is the FAA's contribution to aviation safety. They promote it and make it safer through regulation. The FAASTeam is part of that. We are really the public face of the FAA. Many people who want to stay clear of the FAA, don't steer clear of your FAASTeam people, because they want to outreach, they want to help prevent problems and keep people on the right track.
Bob, a good friend of mine, and I still regard him as a friend, and we haven't talked to each other in many years. But when I was a junior inspector at the FAA, Hooper Harris, old Hooper said, "Ben, we have a toolbox with the FAA, and in that box we have big tools and we have little tools, and I like to use a little tool, a little hammer to get somebody's attention." But we got a big hammer if we need to get their attention big time. So the deal is to use that toolbox and use as little persuasion as possible to get folks. No one intentionally breaks the law. I don't know. Well, I do know a couple characters back in college that had fun doing it, but realistically, we don't fly these aircraft intentionally to break a rule or a standard or break that standard. So whatever we can do to help keep people in the guidelines of that standard, we're going to do it. And that's what we're trying to do here with the extension of the old safety program, which O.B. Young and you remember Bill Hohenstein?
I remember him very well.
And this is morphed into the FAASTeam.
The three amigos, including Obi, Bill Hohenstein, and the guy I'm sitting right next to, the three amigos.
Back in the day, I had hair back in those days, but we got to keep the personality in it, and it is fun. It is really fun, and there's never a problem until there's a problem. So let's work our ways out of getting into those problem areas, and hopefully we will be able to enjoy the industry and the wonderful things that, what we don't show when we get to these death by PowerPoint presentations is some of the beautiful pictures, the beautiful sunrises that you're able to see when you're aloft into the heavens. And why do we fly? Why does man fly? Why do we fly? It's beautiful. It's a good way to get from point A to B. You're up flying in the elements, in the birds, and the aircraft is an extension of your emotion. And that's what we're trying to get across. And not that you don't want to get in trouble with the FAA. And there's some folks that, and I know I'm going on a little bit, but God told me I had some time. That's a big mistake for me. But, I had a supervisor that said, we want people to be in fear. When they see a G car or a government car come on the airport, we want them to fear that the FAA is on the ramp. No.
That's absolutely the wrong reaction to have.
No, unless you're doing something wrong.
Unless you're doing something wrong.
But if that's the case, and I do, a quick one I'll say for segment 2. Remind me to get into this in segment 2. But the joy and the merits of aviation, we're not autonomous yet. AI may have something to do with that later on, but we're in that gap section. We still have to learn how to fly these machines and learn how to work on the machines. And working on them is a big part of the safety component.
I want to mention, you touched on an important point. Many people who run afoul of the regulations, they don't mean to run afoul. They don't mean to have a problem with the regulatory framework. A lot of times these infractions are based on ignorance. People don't know what they're supposed to know on a given topic. They don't know about airspace, or they don't know about a TFR that may have popped up.
A TFR? What?
Sorry, yeah, thank you. Thank you for throwing the flag. TFR is a temporary flight restriction.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal if you go through it. It's usually a ring or other shaped airspace. Think of it as a red line. You should not cross that line with your aircraft. The mechanisms for broadcasting those TFRs when they're active, a lot of folks that have gotten into trouble didn't know that there was a TFR in place when there was. One of the big outreach programs of the FAASTeam is this website called FAAStafety.gov. And it is a ton of free education, preventive education, to make you a better pilot than you are, a better mechanic than you are, or more informed, and to help you with your aeronautical decision making and the skills that you take into the cockpit, at least the brain skills. Probably the most important safety device in any aircraft is the way a person's mind is trained and the way they approach the topic of either flying the aircraft or fixing it.
I was told it was a circuit between the yoke and the rudder pedals. Is that? That's
Could
the
be.
software.
Hopefully it doesn't have a wait on butt switch, but sometimes it does.
Can you get TFR information on this machine here?
You can. There's a website that a person can go to, and I can help with that. I actually put out when I was a FAASTeam program manager, I published a newsletter, and I still continue to publish that newsletter, and I provide a lot of information free of charge for people that are trying to stay on top of the regulatory developments and other local developments, local interest. And one of the things that I have as a regular feature is TFR information, and more importantly, because it's so dynamic, a link to get to the latest TFRs that are being published out there. The information's free, you just got to know where and how to ask, and usually it's logging onto the right websites.
And it's really not that difficult, Bob, but you have to put forth the effort. You got to want to do things the proper way, and get yourself a mentor. If you young pilots out there, get with somebody like a Ron Timmermans or some aviation god out there that can help navigate your way through these ways. I mention that because Ron Timmermans happens to be sitting right in front of me. So
Ron Timmermans is aviation royalty as far as I'm concerned. He was a recent flight instructor, National Flight Instructor of the Year, and the very next year he was an inductee to the Flight Instructor Hall of Fame. Ron is 12 on a scale of 10 in my book.
And I would like to see nothing more than a bunch of little Ron Timmermans running around, but I don't know if his wife would appreciate that. But I would like to find folks that emulate the people that do it right, do it well, and are polished, because that gives them a goal, gives them a target to meet, rather than just using this thing.
Public speaking is one of Ron's great strengths, and there are many opportunities to get experience in public speaking if you join the FAASTeam. We love to put on seminars, webinars. With my experience, I can make anybody an expert in putting on the planning and coordination for a presentation, putting on a webinar. The FAASTeam will even help sponsor a website to put on a webinar. You don't have to put a lot of your own money into many of these things. There are many resources that the FAASTeam provides. Website platforms, support from a regulatory standpoint. They'll approve a lot of things that you'll ask for.
Bob, let's develop more of that in segment 2. We're going to wrap up segment 1, but you know what an expert is, don't you? It's a former drip under pressure. So anyway, a little levity, little laugh. But we're going to see you on segment 2, and remember, hang around for the end of segment 2 for the code word to get your credit for the WINGS program, and plug into that. We'll see you in segment 2.